It's been 65 years since any human has been underwater in the biofuel storage pond, but when divers last took a dip in 1958 for maintenance work, this storage facility for spent nuclear fuel was almost brand new and a very different environment from the legacy facility we're now cleaning up. Over the decades, the pond and its water has become contaminated with radioactive waste, meaning a huge amount of planning and preparation went into the moment this diver first submerged himself. Roll the clock back 4 years and we set up a test rig at an off-site facility in West Cumbria. Here the divers could practice the work in a non-nuclear environment, rehearsing every step over and over to ensure they could stay safe and manage the risk of contamination of radioactive material.
We try and replicate the environment off-site as closely as we can do so that the divers can experience what they'll actually encounter on site. Obviously there's a few things that we can't replicate around visibility and the contamination and how they deal with that, but certainly the infrastructure and how they enter and exit the water, try to replicate that as closely as possible.
The divers already had plenty of experience working in nuclear facilities elsewhere in their dry suits.
The company that we've partnered with have been diving in nuclear ponds since the 1970s in America. The UK has dived previously in Magnox sites. Where this is a significant step on is that the levels of contamination and the tasks that they're carrying out are kind of world leading and world firsts.
Levels of scrutiny and checks before the dives happened were rigorous.
This job, because of the hazardous nature of it and it being a complex and novel piece of work for Sellafield, required full permission from our regulators at the ONR and the Health and Safety Executive Dive Specialist team. And what comes with that is a huge amount of internal governance to make sure that we're carrying out the right activities at the right time in a safe and effective manner.
Until now, we'd only been sending remotely operated vehicles into the pond to clean it out so it can be decommissioned and eventually demolished. We've already got more than 3/4 of the waste inventory out of the pond, but now that some areas of the pond are reaching the final stages of clean-up, it was time to add some people power.
The humans are much more dexterous than the machines that we deploy, so we look to divers to be able to get into those fine areas and nooks and crannies of the pond floor and really into some of those more complex features that machines really struggle to access.
Installing new infrastructure in the legacy facility to carry out the dive safely, such as the dive platform, CCTV and breathing systems, involved Sellafield people and our nuclear supply chain working closely together as one team. Safety is always paramount. A dive supervisor positioned in a separate area talks to the diver through an audio feed into their helmet and pulls all the strings.
The dive supervisor basically controls the diver as if they were a tool that you were using in the water. So they are able to think and conduct the task, as they see fit with the guidance of the dive supervisor. So it's kind of just receiving the feedback and then directing the diver into how they're going to complete the next task.
There are multiple layers of safety. Above the diver on the platform is a reserve diver ready to enter the water in an emergency, as well as a winch to extract the diver if necessary. There are numerous ways of getting air to the diver, and built into the diver's suit and on a handheld probe, there are teledosimetry monitors checking radiation levels all around their body and feeding live data back to our health physics monitor in the control room. The diver stands on a raised plinth placed on the pond floor, so his feet don't touch the sludge, and ultimately it's the water itself that's really protecting the divers from the radiation.
If you were working in air and you walk through a door and there was a higher dose rate source on the other side of the door, that could give you a substantial dose. You're taking quite a bit from it. When we're in the water, if we move closer to something, we get a real-time reading and all you have to do is slightly move away and the dose drops off. So we can be within a short distance of something that could be up to a sievert or multiple sieverts, and we could pick it up with our CV reachers, put it in a bucket and take care of it.
So we can look at it, we can see the dose levels that they're accruing throughout the task. We can also measure whether they're going into areas that they're slightly higher, and it helps us control and keep them within their allowed dose levels.
Our data on the dose levels for divers was reassuring.
The annual radiation legal limit is 20 millisieverts per year. At Sellafield we aim to keep that below 10 millisieverts a year, and what we were finding our divers were receiving per dive 0.001 of a millisievert, so substantially lower.
The team successfully proved they could deliver a range of important tasks.
So during this campaign, we were able to get in and remove some steelwork from one of the walls, and we cleaned a section of the floor and started cleaning into one of the troughs. And to do this, we were placing stands for the divers to work from, brought a ladder into the mix so we could access the wall. So the tools that we were using, we had a Grindex pump, which was we used with a diver end that we had put together, so the diver could hold it and pump the material off of the floor and out of the trough, safely hold it and not, be too close to the sludge and debris that is going through it, so to keep the dose, reasonably low. We have long reach tooling from CV reachers that we use sort of as litter pickers to pick stuff up and put them in, any debris into a debris bucket. And then we also were employing a few different hydraulic tools.
So, what's it actually like down there?
It's dark. So the visibility is generally, pretty reduced because of the conditions that we're working in. But other than that, it's similar to a lot of the other places that we go. You're just in a contaminated area with some sludge and debris and different components kicking around, and we just kind of move slowly through it and work on whatever the task is at the time. When you're diving, the best part about it is that it's just you. It's you, and there's only one person who talks to you. So you have a lot of control. You're taking cues from one person. There aren't a lot of people getting in the mix and trying to control things or confuse things.
Overall, the project has been a big success.
What I've seen is people challenging the status quo. They've done it in the right way. I have seen teams come together, international teams come together with the sole aim of being able to get divers in the pond for a period of time that hasn't happened for 65 years or more. So the ability for us to be able to have done that, achieve what we've achieved, with also then a recognition of the future and what the future benefits could be, I couldn't be prouder of the team. Sellafield's purpose is to be able to create a clean and safe environment for future generations. I think from an outsider looking in at the Sellafield site, to see divers in a legacy facility actively cleaning floors, actively cleaning walls, I don't think there is any better demonstration of our commitment in meeting our purpose.
We've gained a huge amount of learning, not just that this can be done safely at Sellafield, but also what's possible in the end state of the facilities we're cleaning up.
One of the main objectives of the diving learning project was the learning around how clean is clean, and how clean can we get that pond area and other historic ponds. Now
that we've completed this significant milestone, how does everyone feel?
Relieved. It's been an absolutely fantastic project to be part of, and really enabling change and working on something that's quite innovative and a bit different and quite world leading has been absolutely amazing. It's been very fraught and very difficult, and had to have quite high levels of resilience over the course of the last 4 years, but it's certainly something that I'm incredibly proud of to have been part of.
Again, there's a mixture of emotions. I mean, there's a level of excitement knowing that this is the first time that this has happened for many years, especially on this site, but there's a certain level of pride, I think, that comes from knowing that you're responsible for getting the guys out safely and doing it safely every day, which we've proven that we can do. Means that we know moving forward we can continue to do the work safely and effectively for many years.
If you were to ask me 5 years ago or 10 years ago, would we now see a diver back in the pond doing decommissioning work, I think the answer would be no. There's been a massive mindset change over the number of years, recognising the importance that diving can play in decommissioning our future facilities.